Hi everybody, hope you're all well. Today we're going to make just a little pendant, a simple pendant, bit of scrap busting involved if you want to use your scraps, that is. But I did a online course thing, if you want to call it that. It wasn't live, you know, you just watched a video. With Melanie Muir, who I think a lot of you know that I love the stuff she does. It's amazing. And obviously I'm not going to share what we made in the group, in the video, but Melanie did share a lot of tips in the video which have just blown me away, absolutely blown me away. One of those why didn't I think of that moments. So I'm going to make a pendant today, but I'm just going to use a couple of tips that she shared in the video, which she readily admits one of them I'm going to show you she got from another good clayer, Dan Cormerer, and another tip that she uses just to make a hole. So I am assuming that it's okay to share these things, guys. Like I said, I'm not making the pendant Melanie made, the bracelet Melanie made, and I'm not giving away any trade secrets. These were just tips that she shared, so there shouldn't be an issue with what I'm doing, fingers crossed. No, joking aside, I seriously don't think there'll be an issue, because they're just tips to make your life a bit easier. And I've picked two tips that I'm going to include in this pendant, and honestly, it's just blown my mind. You know that little emoji with the head just explodes? Picture me with that on top of my head. That's what happened when I was watching it. So I'm going to just talk you through what we're going to need, because I think this would be a good one for you to clay along with, so you can get everything ready beforehand. So we're just going to make a simple pendant. We're going to make a veneer, so you're going to need something to make your veneer with. Now that is entirely up to you. I've got this old bit of cane. It was a rose cane I attempted many moons ago. I've just been playing with it to get it to soften up. So I'm going to use this old cane to make part of my veneer. I've got some black clay. Excuse the state of it, I just grabbed all the bits together. So black clay for part of my veneer and the backing. And then some scrap clay. Now you don't have to use scrap clay, but it's a really good scrap buster, and you're never going to see the colour. If you've got loads of crappy colours of scrap clay that you don't know what to do with, now's the time to get it out. This was actually just some brown, red, bit of yellow and grey that I mixed up, and it's actually come out this lovely beige colour. But I'm going to use this bit of scrap. So yeah, you need some for veneer in your backing, something to make your veneer with. You may have some canes hanging around that you can make your veneer with. Like I say, I just dug this old rose cane out, and some scrap clay for the insert, if you like. I'll just put them to one side. Then you're going to need a sharp knife, just to cut things out with, or you can use your flexi blade, but you know I'm not too good at that, so I prefer to use a knife. Your flexi blade, some sort of needle tool, and this is just one of my Sculpey ones, but you can use a knitting needle, or you know, anything that you can make a smooth line in the clay with. So you're going to need that. you're going to need a bit of cord that's got a bit of stretch in it. Now I've got some 2mm rubber cord here. It's the sort with no hole in, and it's just got enough stretch in it, but I'd say no bigger than 2mm, guys. I'll just double check. Yeah, this is actually, it's probably when it's had a bit of a stretch, it's probably 1mm, but nothing nothing thicker than this, because I don't think it would work. Maybe just some stretch elastic would work for you, some thick stretch elastic, but anything with a bit of give in it will work. You could probably use a skewer, or again, you know, a cocktail stick. It's as long as you can get that out of the clay once we've done. It's for making the hole through the pendant. Some sort of cutter. Again, you can freehand it, guys. I am going to use a cutter because, again, I'm just not good at freehand shapes unless I've got a template or something. So I'm going to cut my veneer with a cutter. And then your usual tools and something to make a curve on. I've recently pinched this. I collect jars for when I'm doing my chutneys and stuff. So I've just got this out of my stash of, it's an old coffee jar, because it's going to go in the oven. Excuse me. I still got a bit of a sore throat, guys, so you'll have to excuse me if I'm a bit croaky today. I'll keep clearing my throat. Yeah, just something to give you a bit of shape to your bead with. Doesn't matter, you can make it flat. I just thought, I haven't done this for ages, so I just thought I'd use a jar and put a bit of a curve on the pendant. But again, you can use anything you want to, or you can make it flat. Makes no difference. So yeah, that's all we're going to need. So I'll let you get your bits together, and I'll go and condition some of this clay up, and we'll, oh, and you need something to draw a straight line against. Again, you may be good at freehand cutting, or you know, you may be able to do it really well with your blade, but if you want to be really precise, maybe get yourself a straight edge, you know, like a metal ruler or something. I'll probably just use my blade and use the lines on my worktop, just so we can get the position of the cord okay. It's not essential, just thought I'd mention that bit. Right, I'll go and get this clay conditioned, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay guys, I've conditioned the black and I've conditioned some of the scrap. So what we're going to do is, we need enough scrap that it'll cover our pendant twice, or whatever it is that you decide to make. You know, you could be making some earrings, couldn't you? Just that it does it twice. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim. In fact, I've got some new blades, because I think my other ones have just been sharpened way too much and they're going a little bit dull. I'm just going to trim it up so that it's an equal size, if that makes sense. Just so I know that I'm not having to mess about with too much of it, and that I can cut in half easily, which where you know, your ruler would come in handy for that, wouldn't it? And I'll just trim this edge just a little bit, because it's just got a little bit of a wonk on it. Right, now then, bearing in mind where your pendant's going to sit on this, what you want to do now is, and I'm going to use my metal ruler, you need to draw a very fine straight line through this. So if I put it about there, I know it's not going to be too near the top on mine. And just using my pointy tool or a knitting needle or whatever you've got, I'm just going to gently drag that through and then gently drag it through again. And I'm just, Doris, do you know this cat? I think it's when I'm talking. She thinks I'm talking to her. What you doing? Anyway. Oh, she's coming back. Make your mind up. Where are you going? Doris, please go and sit down on your... She's got her own mat near my little heater. She's such a pest. Stay there. Anyway, as I was saying, if you just gently drag it through, you're not going through, guys. I'll just move my ruler so you can see. You're not going through. What you're doing is just making a decent indent in that clay, like so. Because what we're going to do is we're going to lay this cord in that dip so you can see how much of an indent you know you need to make. Just a decent indent, but not all the way through. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this in half and pick our pieces up. So I think what I'll do first is just loosen it a little. Oh, it's getting stuck on my blade. I'm just going to loosen it a little, guys, just to make life a bit easier. Because I don't want to stretch it at all. There. Right, so what we're going to do is cut this in half, or there or thereabouts. This is why it works well if you have a decent sized piece to begin with. Let me just move that down a bit. So I need it about 1.5, which is about there. And I'm just going to cut that in half. I didn't go all the way through then. My cord was in the way. There, so I've cut that in half. And I'm going to pick half up. Now what I'm going to do is sit my cord into that groove and just gently press it down like so. Now it's pressed in nicely, and now I'm going to take my other piece that's already got a groove in, obviously groove side down, guys, and I'm going to now lay that piece over the cord so that the grooves are on both sides like so. And I'm just going to press them down a little bit, and I'll just get a little bit of scrap and just give that a little rub over. Like so. And then what we're going to do, and this is the best bit, is you're just going to keep it really low and just gently pull, and you see it disappear, and then you can pull it out. How cool is that? So now we've got a perfect hole all the way through our backing piece. So I'm now just going to pick this up gently. Do not stretch it or you might lose your hole. And I'm just going to pop it down on a piece of paper and pop it to one side while we get on and do the veneer. And that's as simple as that was, guys. And honestly, that just blew me away. Blew me away. No more drilling. Amazing. And you've used scraps. Right, so put that excuse me, put that to one side. And I've got another piece here. They were on a 3, guys. I don't know if I mentioned that. I'll just mention it again just in case I didn't. I've got an atlas and they went through on a 3. So it makes a reasonable size inside bit, if you like. Right, so I'm going to use this black. I have got a couple of bubbles, but I'm hoping that they'll burnish out nicely. I'm just getting a bit of paper because I'm running out. And I'm just going to give this a light burnish with my fingers to start off with, guys, just so I can keep my eye on them bubbles. And I'll probably trim it down a bit as well. Then we're not working with too much. Yeah, that's not too bad. Right, I'll just trim this down. Bearing in mind we're going to need some for the backing as well. But at the minute I just need enough of this for my pendant. So I'll just trim some bits off and give myself a nice square to work with. And these bits can go back through for my backing in a bit. Let's get them to one side. Oh, come on. There we go. And I'll just pick this up and put it a bit squarer. Just makes it easier for me to work with. There we go. So I'm going to use this cane. Now please bear with me, guys. You know I don't do a lot of canes, and I don't do a lot of slicing of canes, so God knows how these are going to come out. But I will just give it a little pat to try and get the end flat or flattish. And I'm just going to slice myself a couple of pieces of this off to put on here to make my veneer. And I seem to have had a bubble trapped underneath. There we go. Now all I'm going to do is, say that's my pendant, I'm just probably going to put 3 or 4 pieces down this side, and just have the rose coming in on one side. I'm not covering it with it. But again, you guys make some amazing veneers and things. I see them all the time. So just use, you know, whatever it is you want to use. And these aren't probably going to be the thinnest of slices either, because I'm a bit pants. And I have warmed it up quite well, but there's still a bit of crackle in this. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of a roll out, just to make sure that I like the shape before I pop it down. This is nowhere near as thin as it should be, guys, but it'll all get smoothed out. So I'm just going to put a little divot in this edge so that leaf looks a bit more leaf-like, because it kind of got itself rounded out while I was working on it. There, I'm just going to pop that there like that. Let's see if I can get these next ones a bit thinner. Oh, that is really thin. That might be too thin. I told you I'm not very good at this, guys. And that was a duff bit. I think it's better if I just do them thicker and roll them out. Oh dear Lord. What am I like? Yeah, I'm just going to do them thin and then roll them out. Do them a bit thicker and roll them out. I think that'll work better for me. Plus I can put different sizes in then, can't I? Let's give this a stretch out so it still looks like a rose. And I'm just going to pop that one there. Where's my cutter? Yeah, I might just put another piece here. In fact, I might use this little slither just over it like so, because I'm not too fussed what it looks like, to be fair. Right, so now what I'm going to do is just, and I've no idea how you guys do this with your veneers, this is just how my brain wants to do it, so this is how I'm doing it. I'm just going to smooth it down and get it pressed into that back piece of veneer. I'll just get my smoother. In fact, should I pass it through the pasta machine? Well, that seems to be working all right now. I'll just keep doing this and hope for the best. Let's give it a little roll on that edge, because it's a bit fat on that side. Let's have a look how that looks. Not too bad. I bet you're all just screaming at the screen now, aren't you? Like, Kath, that is just not what you do. But I'll just give it a really good smooth. Oh, it's getting there. I can't even see where it's blended in on that one there. Oh, that's worked quite well, guys. I'm quite pleased with myself. Let's just use that edge there. How much that black's picked up on there. Sorted. Right, I am going to pick this up and just pass it through my pasta machine, guys, just because I don't want my veneer to be thicker on one side on my thing. So I'll just pass, I won't be a sec, I'll just pass this through and smooth it out a bit more. Okay guys, that's that done, nice and smooth. I am just going to give it a little bit of a wipe over with some alcohol, because the black has kind of bled onto the white, and I'm hoping just by giving it a quick wipe over that it brightens it up a little bit. Not that it matters too much, to be fair. I'll just give the clay a wipe actually. I just wanted it to make sure that white was nice and bright again, and I'll just give it a burnish to see if that lifts the excess off. There we go, that will do. Right, what's going on there? Sorry guys, there's a funny mark. I don't know what I've done. Burnish again. I think it might just be the alcohol, but it'll be fine. Right, so now what we're going to do is, I'm going to cut my veneer out using my cutter, just so that I know I've got it how I want it. That's not going to work very well, is it now? Do you know, I think I didn't think about that spreading out, did I? Well, it doesn't matter. Maybe I could just do it there, like that. It'll do. It's not perfect, guys. I know it's not perfect, but for what we're doing, it'll do. Yeah, so I'm just going to cut that out. I'll just give it a tiny wiggle just to make sure it's through. Let's lift that up. And then I'm just going to bring this in. Pick my veneer up. Carefully lay it over, making sure that it's straight with the I'm just going to put it this way, guys, then I can see that it's straight with the where the string's going to go through. Don't stretch, don't stretch. There, that'll be fine, I think. Just give it a little smooth. Now this is where your cutting skills come in. Now I am going to try and do it with my bendy blade. Oh, you know I'm not too good at this, but we'll see what happens. All I need to do is find it. Oh, it's already out. Silly woman. Just give it a clean, then I know it's clean. Right, so I'm just going to bring the blade up against that and then trim. Because what we don't need to do, we don't want to cut it because we'll lose our holes if we press it through with a cutter. So I'll just bring my blade up against the veneer and cut. Seems to be working. Again, bring my blade up against the veneer and cut. There we go. And what I'm just going to take my craft knife. Now this will need a bit of sanding, but I'm just going to take my craft knife and just take them sharp corners off. The rest I can catch when I'm sanding it, guys, so I'm not going to overly worry about it. And I'm just going to pop my paper on and just give it a nice rub and make sure that that's bonded. No pressure, just a rub. There we go. So we've got the pendant sat lovely with our holes in the side for our cord or whatever we want to put through. Well, wire in our case, won't it, because it's quite a thin one. Right, I'll get my jar and very carefully I'm just going to pop, get that straight, no fingerprints, and I'm just gonna use my palm to gently press it on, make sure it's stuck. And there we go, guys. I shall go and pop that in the oven half an hour, and we'll come back and do the back bit, well, a bit of sanding and the back bit. I'll see you when this is baked. Hi guys, all baked, nice and bonny. Can't really tell it's a rose, can you? But you know, for the purpose of filming, it doesn't really matter. Right, now some dreaded sanding. Now don't worry, we don't have to do a lot of it. All we want to do is roughly smooth this edge off. Excuse me. I'm just going to grab my dust mask, so I might be a bit muffled. Oh, I can't reach it. These are the ones my husband uses in his workshop, so I always pinch a couple. Yeah, be careful when you're sanding, guys, especially the fine particles. I don't think I've said it before, have I, about putting my mask on, but it's, you know, you should do, really. And, you know, I try, if the weather's okay, that's why I do it off screen sometimes. I'll go and sit outside and do it. Polishing with my Dremel's not too bad inside, and of course you can wet and dry sand, can't you? But I'm just going to use, you know, these sanding blocks that you just get from the DIY stores or hardware stores. Again, I've pinched these off my husband. He ordered a few blocks, so there's a finer one, but they're just great for getting rid of waste on stuff quickly. So I'm just gonna I'll probably speed this bit up, to be honest, but I will do it on screen, then you can see how much I take off, and then I'll do this, and then we will get the backing on. So here goes. I hope you can still hear me, but I'm going to probably fast forward it, guys. So all we want to do is can you see I'm just kind of going round like this. It's just on this back piece. We just want to get it rounded off. So just go with your sanding and round everything. Think round while you're doing it so there's no harsh edges. Right, I'll probably speed it up now, guys, because it gets a bit sweaty in here while I'm talking. Okay, guys, I had to just start something again, don't ask. But right, you can see I've just rounded those edges off nice and bonny. I've made sure that there's nothing stuck in my holes. And what we're going to do is, here's my backing sheet. It's on a 3. I've put a bit of texture on the back using, can you pick that up? Just using a bit of canvas paper like so. And I've just got a little kitchen sponge to help. Another one of Melanie's tips that I was just like, why didn't I think of that? Duh. So we're just going to put a bit of Bacon Bond or liquid clay or whatever you want to use on the back, if it'll come out, that is. What's going on? The stoppers on these sometimes just don't want to work. Oh, I know what's happened. One of my balls will have got stuck. Oh, come on. Sorry about the banking, guys. I'm just trying to... I don't know what's going on. I don't even think there's a ball in the bottom of this one. It's not for coming out anyway. Oh, no it is. I don't know what I've done there, guys. Ignore me. Might be one of those days. Right, just a bit of Bacon Bond on the back. Just to double make sure. And I'm just going to put a little bit on the ends and the corners. I'm going to avoid the holes. So I'll just do it like that. Then we're just going to pop this down. We need to leave enough space around it because we're going to wrap it up a bit. So I'll just trim that off there. As usual, I've made enough to wrap 20 beads. And I'm just going to pop this down on the sponge and just give it a little press so that I know it's pushed into the back. Just double check, make sure that's not got any air trapped and it looks fine. So I'll just give that a little press. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold these edges up like so. Now I may have a little bit too much here, guys, but I'll just pinch them corners to bring it together. I probably have got way too much, but I've only done this twice and I'd done it a little bit short the last time and it didn't turn out too good, so I don't want to leave myself with not enough, if that makes sense. So I'm just giving this a little press into the sides, just gently. Maybe use the sponge a bit just to help it, especially in those corner pieces. And I've definitely left too much on, guys, but you'll see in a minute that it all gets trimmed off. Right, using my blade, you can just see it's not quite stuck there. Using my blade, I'm just going to clean it first. I'm just going to come down and cut into that bit there so I can get started, and I'm keeping the blade flat with the pendant that we've made, and I'm just going to cut off this excess first. I really did leave too much on there, guys, sorry. It's probably making it hard for you to see, isn't it? Let's just get this excess cut off and then you can see what I'm doing. I'm just roughly chopping it, guys, so you can see. Right, that's better. Right, so I've got my blade flat and I'm just cutting round. I'll just get that corner sorted by pressing it with the sponge. Keep your blade flat, cut round. Again, keep your blade flat, and just glide it. You're not cutting into the pendant, guys. Having the excess isn't really helping me, is it? Let's just get rid of that. There we go. Get rid of these bits, then you can see what I'm doing properly. Sorry guys, just trim more off than I did. I'm just going to go around with my sponge and make sure that that's bonded to the edge of the pendant really well. It's such a good idea using the sponge, because now I'm preserving that pattern on the back and not getting any fingerprints on. And I just, it goes to show, doesn't it? You know, that's why Melanie's churning out beautiful pieces of artwork. And I'm selling a few bits to my stepmom. But yeah, such a simple idea, isn't it? But with great results. Right, let's keep this flat and trim. Now it does drag it a little bit sometimes, but just persevere. And keep making sure that it's stuck to your pendant. So that edge is getting really nice now. Just keep working your way around, don't take off too much. Actually did that and restarted. And I'm just gently taking off the excess and making sure that my corners are nice, and I'm just working my way around slowly until I've got a decent finish. And once it's all truly flat with the pendant, then you can go in and, you know, maybe shave a little bit more off if you need to, because I've got a little bit of a bump there. So now I've smoothed it out, it's raised it up. So now I'm just going to go in at a little tiny angle just to get that shape that I want on mine. Nearly done now. And I'm just going to take my finger and smooth that through like so. Just check them edges with my sponge before I smooth that top edge. And I will be sanding a little bit, guys, so just the top edge, so I'm not worried about if there's some little bits on there, because the sand will catch them. And as I say, the more I practice this, I think the cleaner that edge is going to be for me. Right, I'm not going to do much more to that now. It is, oh, I've got a little bit stuck there. There is a few little bits, but I don't want to cut in too deep. I would sooner catch them when I sand. I'll just get this corner here where I've, there we go. So I'm just going to pop this back in the oven, guys, and I'm not happy with that little corner there. just seems a little bit sharp. I'm trying to get it to round off a bit. Then I don't have to. Let's do it like that. That seems to be working. Oh yeah, just needed a little bit more pressure there. Right, I'm going to pop this in, guys, and then we'll come back when it's baked, and I'll just give the top a little bit of a sand to finish it off. Nothing drastic. The surface is pretty smooth. I just want to get rid of those little divots. Okay guys, I'll go and bake this. I'll be back in a sec. Hi guys, we're back. It's all baked. I just need to, I've got a tiny little crack there. I don't know if it's the veneer or what, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm just going to give these a quick sand, not doing a massive sand with them. Just want to get this edge neat, so I'm just going to go around with my nail files and do it that way. It's just where there was a little bit of feathering with the clay, so I just want to make sure that that's removed. So just working through my different thicknesses of files, different grades should I say. I'll just get a tissue so I can just wipe the dust. The surface isn't perfect by any means, and I know it's going to take a little bit of practice to get this technique up and running properly, but for my first attempt I'm really quite, well, say second attempt, first on camera, I'm really quite pleased with it, and I think I'm going to find it a lot easier in the future using this technique, just to get that little band around, a nice neat band. Again, I think it does depend on the pendant, or you know, whatever pattern it is that you're making. I would imagine it'd be really hard to do it on something extremely domed, but for flattish pendants I think it's going to work really well. And I'm not giving this the best sand in the world, guys. I just want to get the surface something like, so that you guys can see what it looks like when it's been buffed. My corners are a little bit untidy. They could have been tidier, but there isn't much I can do about that now. As I say, it's going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to practice, I think. Just to get it absolutely perfect. But practice makes perfect, as they say. Right, let's go with this one. And I'm not going to speed through this, guys, because I just want you to see that it isn't really that much work with the sanding and the such. Maybe if I'd have done it in a different colour you'd probably notice it better, but I just thought I'd do it in black initially because it would hide a little bit of the boo-boos if I made any, if that makes sense. But it's looking okay, considering I didn't have the best veneer to start with, did I? A dodgy old cane I made about 8 months ago. But like I say, for the first go, I'm really quite pleased with how it's turned out. You know, my knife skills obviously need to come on a bit to just get it absolutely bob on, but you guys might be tons better at it. You know, it's a new thing, isn't it, for me anyway. Right, just gonna clear some of this dust away. I got some new shiners. Woo! Been waiting for them to come. They seem to have taken ages, because I use these the most. You know, if I've got a really good finish on a piece of clay, I only really need to use the shiner and the buffer on it, and maybe a little whiz with the Dremel, and it looks really good. Just that little bit in the corner there that isn't, I'm not saying not perfect, I'll probably notice it more than anybody else would. But let's now give it a buff and see what this edge looks like. I'm just going to turn it over, guys, and I can just buff the bit itself. A bit easier that way. There we go. Right, I'll just get a wet wipe out, and I can clear that dust that's caught. Give it all a wipe over. Give it a bit of a dry. And there we go. Can you see the edges? A little bit rough around this edge. To be honest, I bet if I got my Dremel on that, you know, I'm just going to get my Dremel on it and see if I can tidy it up a little bit, guys. I won't film it because it's dead noisy and I've got to put my mask on and everything. So I'll just go and give it these edges just a little bit of a go with my Dremel. See if I can tidy them up a little bit. See you in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back. Now it isn't by any means stunning, but I have got a couple of little divots in it, but you can just see I've just got a little divot there and a little divot there. Don't know if you can make them out, and I think if I gave that a really good sanding back, it'd look perfectly fine. But the overall look of the pendant, this rounded pebble like shape, is fabulous. I'm really I will leave the link, guys, to the little course that I did. It's actually on offer at the minute, so it's about I think it's about $17, which is about £14, 15 euros or so. Really worth it, and you get a handout with it as well. You can download it all to your PC if you have a PC. You can go back and watch it, you know, whenever you want. So I would highly recommend, because she gives so many tips, unbelievable. Obviously guys, this is, you know, just a quick sample. I wouldn't, in fact what I might do when we go off camera is just give it a really good sand, and see what finish I can get on it. But for my second attempt at this edging technique, I'm really pleased with it. I think once I've got to grips with it, you know, maybe I'll watch the video a couple more times and play along with with Melanie. Some of the tips she gives in it, as well as what you're making with her, is just amazing. And you know I'm a big fan of her work anyway, because it's just so beautiful and simple. But yeah, I mean, we've got our little holes in the side now. This will only take a wire, obviously, but you could probably re-drill that and make it a little bit bigger, to pass a cord through or similar. But if you know you're going to be using a wire to hang it, what a fabulous idea, because normally I'd have to put a piece on the back, wouldn't I? But no, I don't have to. I'll just get me pliers, and I don't know if you remember me talking, you know, I spoke about these wires that are already fixed, and all I do is I just re-pinch it. You've got to kind of twist it a bit while you're doing it, because it doesn't want to pinch, but just gently reopen it and give it a wiggle, and the end actually pops off. So I can now pass this through my pendant like so, and then all I need to do is pop this back on the end and give it a squash with my pliers, and it's back on. But on the wire, that's let me get a bit of paper on the wire now, where how that's held in, just perfect idea, that using a bit of rubber cording. Now, I haven't tried it with anything else, but I reckon if you, especially if you were making a thicker pendant, you could easily pop your skewer in, give your skewer a twist and pull it out, you know, maybe put a bit of cornflour on, or cornstarch, or you may already have some of this stretchy cord, and it was the simplest, and this is actually, excuse me, this is actually what Melanie uses in her video. But yeah, I could highly recommend it, guys. And like I said, I haven't shown, it's not the tech, it's not what you're making in the video, it's something completely different. I've just showed you a couple of techniques which Melanie, hello baby, excuse me, what do you think? You can't sit there, we're having a yeah, Doris has joined us. You're so cheeky. Here, look up here, show the people. Yeah, you fed up with me talking? Yeah. Yeah, so I could highly recommend, oh Doris, do you know, I can highly recommend, guys, that you go in and have a, you know, a little dabble. It's really in depth. She shows you to make a lovely cuff bracelet, and Melanie has said in the video that you know, the things I've shown you, she's got the ideas from other people as well, so I've not given away any state secrets. Ow, you're hurting me. I think somebody wants a bit of playtime. So yeah, say bye bye, Doris. Say bye bye. We'll both see you later. Bye everybody. See you later, guys.